I took that negative energy and turned it into positive change. And I haven't looked back since. I've been on fluoride-free water and fluoride-free toothpaste for probably about 2 years now, and literally like the first few weeks of that, every single day got better. Over here,
Yeah.
kind of but thanks for
No problem.
for giving me the opportunity. This is my first time here. So far, it's amazing. Honestly, I didn't really know what to expect, but it's a really beautiful place here. Lots of beautiful people and everything. The energy, like you said, was really good. And honestly, my spiritual journey started a few years back when I started noticing that there's bumper stickers that say there's poison in the water. At first I was pretty ignorant and I was like, well, that's probably just, a bunch of BS, I don't need to look into this at all. And then I started seeing more of them and more of them and more of them. So I'm like, well, maybe there is poison in the water. And so I did a little research that ended up turning into a lot of research, and it started occupying a lot of my time. And I ended up finding out that not only is there poison in the water, but people pay extra for it. And it's called fluoride. And before fluoride was even added to water or toothpaste, it was used to kill rats and to deactivate your thyroid gland. I don't know if you've ever heard of goiter, but it's when your thyroid gland like balloons up like that. And they literally used to prescribe it to make your thyroid gland shut down. And so that's really weird. And so nowadays you hear lots of people having thyroid problems and lots of people having all these other problems that seem to pop up out of nowhere. And this thing's an endocrine disruptor. So like literally all your hormones are being attacked by this substance. And that's really, really strange and shouldn't be happening. And so like I've really wanted to just do as much digging this as possible because I think that health really starts on the inside. I think all of the products nowadays are trying to look at the outside health, but I think health is really an internal thing. And so I started doing more digging, and I started finding out that not only is this stuff toxic to the point where people need to wear like rubber suits and like respirators when they're handling it, because like if it gets on their skin, it'll like burn the skin off and stuff. But it's really toxic in any dose. So like washing your hands for 30 seconds, that's getting in your bloodstream and stuff like that. So it's literally everywhere. People grow food with it. People do their dishes with it. I mean, it's literally the laundry. It's being put on literally everything in our lives. So when people say, oh, the level in the water is okay in these doses, there's no doctor doing your laundry with you and doing your dishes with you and calculating the surface area that's getting fluoride. Like there's no doctor keeping track of this dangerous and poisonous drug. And so in the end, you have to be your own health professional and lower the exposure to this as much as possible. That's why we brought some really awesome water here and a really awesome means of making awesome water. Mm-hmm. And another really huge reason is that this substance can actually accumulate in a part of the brain called the pineal gland. And this gland is basically right on the top of your brainstem, like right in the middle of your brain. And so it's in a huge vital area to be vulnerable in your body. And so it can accumulate this stuff, and ironically enough, fluoride is added to water to bond to your enamel, and it's added to toothpaste to bond to your enamel. They found that since it's such a reactive element, it can bond really well to the tooth. And so basically, this gland, ironically enough, can build up a hard calcium substance, much like the enamel of the tooth. And so like the irony of this stuff's supposed to be good for your teeth, but instead it attacks a gland and like turns it into a tooth. Like when I started reading about this, it's like that's like one of the most idiotic things of all time, that we would pay extra for a poisonous substance that is really bad for us. And so it started sinking in, and right off the bat I was like, wow, there's literally thousands of like quote-unquote professionals that had just been tricked into believing this stuff is the literally one of the top 10 CDC health achievements of our time is mass poisoning of the water. Like, thanks CDC, that's great.
Yep.
But yeah, so literally anybody says that your body needs fluoride does not know everything that they think they know, honestly. I've been off fluoride toothpaste for, I don't know, like 2 years, something like that. I feel like my teeth are like healthier. I mean, sometimes you see people's teeth and you know they use fluoride toothpaste, but they're like super brown. And it literally builds up a layer of fluoride on the tooth, so you don't see the tooth enamel anymore. So like it gets to a level, it's like Legos, you know, you have white Legos for your teeth, and you're adding all this random Legos on top, and you don't even see your teeth anymore. And so in the end, you don't necessarily need fluoride. It can build up in a very important part of the brain. They've called the pineal gland the seat of the soul, because it's the only part of your brain that's not in two pieces. Everything else has a left and right half. But this thing's so small, it's just right in the middle, and it only has one piece. And on top of that, it produces some really amazing stuff that literally you don't want to miss out on at all. One of the biggest is melatonin. Do any of you ever have trouble sleeping? And by that I mean it takes probably more than half an hour to fall asleep, or you're rolling around in bed. I used to be an insomniac 2 years ago. It would take me like an hour to fall asleep. And nowadays, everyone's so tired automatically, you should just knock out like instantly. I mean, you're tired the second the sun goes down. And that's because your body starts to gradually start to make melatonin. And this gland is the biggest source of melatonin and serotonin. And serotonin is a very important mood stabilizing neurotransmitter. And so people that are very aggressive, their temper is very short, or they freak out for no reason, they could be experiencing a lack of enough serotonin, because it keeps your mood level, keeps you happy, for example. The biggest antidepressant medication literally clogs up your neurons so that serotonin stays in the fluid of the brain, essentially. And so instead of doing that, the best idea is to produce more serotonin naturally. And so what I've found is by decalcifying this gland, by breaking up a little bit of the hard minerals that can cover it, not only can you sleep better, but you can also dream better. You can be happier with your life. You can feel more stable with your mood. And it's a lot easier than it might seem to do this. I found one of the best things to decalcify this gland with is called MSM. It's a natural sulfur molecule. We should naturally have it in our soils, but our soils mostly are like pretty depleted as far as the average soils. I mean, it's mostly pesticide residue and all types of stuff in our soils. But MSM is really good at decalcifying bone spurs. That's like over-calcified joints. If you ever see anybody with bone spurs or like limping or something with their joints, get them some MSM because it's great for your joints. And it also decalcifies the pineal gland. And it does this just by removing unnecessary calcification. And like this gland is about the size of your pinky fingernail. It's super tiny. And you can see it on like an MRI, and when it's severely calcified, it can be like golf ball sized. And so like that's like a little extra bone that can like grow in the brain. And that's not good when it can be potentially pushing up against everything in the immediate area. I mean,
headaches and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I literally used to have headaches almost at least weekly headaches. And now I can say I haven't had a headache like that in at least a year. And so it literally can instantly remove many problems from your life, because a lot of what you think is a problem is being generated right up here. Something that might seem like a problem instantly is probably not a problem. It's just getting you ready for something. And if you turn it into a problem, that's where the negativity comes from. But I cured my insomnia, I cured my headaches, I cured my lack of dreaming. I stopped dreaming in high school. Any of you guys remember your dreams frequently?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember their dreams frequently?
Oh, I remember them a lot.
I bet some of the kids do. I bet they remember their dreams just fine.
I write down my dreams.
Yeah, if you dream during
like
it's
high school.
easier.
Like, didn't remember any dreams. For as far as I knew, I didn't have any. And this is literally the gland that helps you produce your dreams. It makes a substance called dimethyltryptamine. I know you know what I'm talking about. It's a molecule that they call the spirit molecule, and I've heard it called many other things. I've heard it called the language molecule, and that's what it was. Plants make it, bacteria makes it, all other animals make it. It's made universally. Almost every living thing makes DNA. And it's ironically enough classified as one of the most psychedelic substances on the planet. But what you need to know about it is that it has the ability to produce light. And so the way they found this out is these people that worked with the Manhattan Project, ironically enough, which started producing atomic weapons, which one of the main productions of atomic weapons is fluoride. This is really when fluoride production started shooting through the roof, is when they started making the H-bombs and stuff. For some reason, fluoride was involved. And so they actually did a lot of cool stuff with Manhattan Project, and they synthesized DMT. And what they did, I don't know if you guys have seen Breaking Bad, but when they synthesize huge molecules in like a crystalline form like that, they have to smash it up with like a hammer or chisel or something like that. And when they did that, colorful bursts of light flew out of the crystal into the room.
Really?
Yeah, and it's literally like a molecule that when you vibrate it, it can be like a strobe light. And so here we are with this tiny gland in our brain that has the same proteins as our two eyes on the outside of our head, inside our head. And so honestly, like, you'd be surprised what you can do with this gland. I mean, honestly, we could all just take a second and just close our eyes just for 1 second, and you can just think of anything. I mean, you can imagine anything in your mind's eye. And as you decalcify this gland and rejuvenate the health of this gland, it does become a lot easier to do that. And to do many things. I mean, you'd be surprised how handy it is. You know, when you're remembering, oh, where did I put my keys? Oh, where did I put my keys? Last time I used my keys was right over there on the counter. Okay,
Yep.
so that's where they are.
Dude, like recently, that's been happening to me a lot. Like, I used to forget shit all the time. Excuse my language, sorry. But like, I started taking like MSM. I started meditating more, and like now I can like remember them like as if I just did it. And I'm like, I was over there, boom, there it is.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, memory, sleep, pleasure, serotonin is very much involved in pleasure, and so when you start making more of it, you find pleasure in the smaller things in here. That's about all there is to life. I mean, sleeping, being awake and happy, that's about it. So when those things are not being as good as they could be, then life itself has progress to be made. And honestly, I was raised on fluoride, literally. And for like 18, 19 years, I was just consuming fluoride all day. And that's showering in it, that's using toothpaste with fluoride in it, drinking 0.08 parts per million of fluoride. And so the CDC has actually said that that's too much, even though 0 parts per million is the only allowable safe dose. Now they say 0.07 parts per million. What you're going to start noticing on the news is that's going to slowly lower to 0 because they're going to be like, okay, people are waking up, guys. You know, I mean, like literally, like Harvard now knows and publicly says that this is a developmental neurotoxin. So knowing this, knowing that it attacks the endocrine system, which helps your body age over time. You know, when you hit puberty, you know, your endocrine system, that's basically all that is it starts kickstarting the growth of the body. Knowing that like I could be like an inch taller or something like that, like knowing that like my development has been chemically altered, that like right off the bat it was like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And like what I did was I took that negative energy and turned it into positive change, and I haven't looked back since. I've been on fluoride-free water and fluoride-free toothpaste for probably about 2 years now, and literally like the first few weeks of that, every single day got better. Not only did I wake up with less pressure in my head, but I noticed that pressure in my head, which was slowly going down, was the headache. I noticed that like instead of like a gradual, oh, I have a headache now, it's like, no, I've had a headache for years, and it hasn't gone away, it's just gotten worse, and that's when you notice it. And so I can't think of the last time I had a headache, and it's probably been over a year ago. And honestly, that's a miracle in itself. And that's not taking a drug to get rid of the headache symptoms. That's the cause of the headache being slowly removed out of the system. And so, honestly, it's just really incredible. And honestly, I brought some MSM here. So if you guys want to try it, it's pure MSM, and it's a supplement. It's not like a drug or anything like that. It's literally something that's really good for your joints. It helps decalcify bone spurs out of your joints, tiny little microscopic over-calcifications, basically. And it can help clear out this little gland. It can flush all of the hard minerals that build up around it out. And it's really amazing.
How long do you have to take it? Is it a continual thing? You take it forever? Or?
Honestly, some of my first benefits I felt within the first week.
Oh, wow.
And the whole thing is it's just amazing to take because it's good for your joints, and your joints eventually deteriorate over time. So you might as well keep your joints healthy, keep your brain healthy.
Your thoughts, you have more clarity. Your thoughts, you're more like alive feeling. You see things clear, you hear things clear. Everything about it comes like more clear and crisp.
Another really funny thing about hearing things clearer is that this gland, the pineal gland, has the same type of crystals in it as your ear. Your ear has these little microcrystals in it, and the same types of microcrystals are in this gland. And so basically, between those microcrystals and the water that they're floating in, and the DMT that you can produce in this gland, these crystals can literally be vibrating against the DMT molecules and produce photons, just like those guys in the lab were vibrating against it with like a hammer or something. And so literally, now we've hit this point in history where we're beginning to catch up with the east of the world, where like if we were all like Indian or Hindu or something, you guys would be laughing at me because you already know this stuff already, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like over here, it's just like if you go to a doctor and you ask them what they think about the mind's eye, they'll tell you it's all just it's a metaphor or something like that. But it's far from a metaphor, and honestly, any imaginative kid could probably prove that to you, because the imagination is literally infinite, and this is your source of that. And so it's really amazing, honestly, and there's a lot of room for development of medicine in this society, because there's thousands of drugs that are sold for things like just serotonin imbalances, which could be anything from depression to bipolar disorder to literally dozens of things that could all be linked to a lack of serotonin production. And insomnia medications, literally all you need is melatonin. I don't know if you guys have ever taken a melatonin right before you go to bed. You're out in like a minute. It's just like instant. And once you start making more of this with your body, I mean, honestly, I think I passed out within 2 minutes last night. Like, it's just almost instant.
Did you take melatonin or no?
No, I
just because your pineal gland is clear now.
Yeah, and plus I was lucky enough to be hosted by someone who had an amazing comfy bed. But
It was a cloud.
honestly, looking back, I 2 years ago, I was a guy who had no clue what to do with his life, and I was an insomniac, and I had headaches. So I had really nothing going for me.
On your hand all night.
Yeah, and literally the combination of headaches and insomnia is like a deadly combination. That's like the worst.
It's like torture.
things.
Like you're just like laying in bed. You're
Literally.
like, why am I alive right now?
I was a prison in my own mind.
Yeah.
I had no clue why I wasn't living as I felt like life should be.
Yeah.
And in the end, I was going straight to the sink and turning it on and just literally. And in the end, this country is more like a company, and we're like the employees that are just finding out how it works.
Yeah.
And when you find out that your best interests aren't necessarily being looked out for, then you realize there's some work to do. And in the end, it can be done with like a $20 trip to the nearest grocery store and get some fluoride-free toothpaste and some MSM or anything.
What is that derivative from, the MSM? What is
The
it?
MSM, it's called methyl sulfonyl methane, and so the sulfur in the middle of the word is the main compound. But it's just a natural sulfur compound, and it can actually help rebuild the joints. Sulfur is actually one of the biggest elements
Like
in
a
the
natural
body.
mineral that's...
Yeah, exactly. There's actually a high level of sulfur in the body, and this can help nourish the joints and break down any. I mean, I don't know if you've seen anybody walk with bone spurs, but I used to work with this one guy, and like literally his like leg can bend, and like I feel so sorry for him. When I get back in town, I'm gonna definitely hook him up with some MSM. But it's terrible, and if you picture what that can be in the joint to where it can't even move, it's like inflamed with a bone-like material. I mean, if you picture that in your brain, I mean, it's not that hard to break down, because this gland, like I said, is the size of a pinky fingernail. I mean, it's very small, and it gets a huge amount of blood flow.
Did you say you heard some pop once?
Yeah, literally, and it's not just me. Literally, other people have told me that once you take MSM for a certain amount of time, it's almost like a little egg that just cracks open right in the middle of the brain. And keep in mind, everyone's different. Everyone has a different fluoride exposure. Some of you might have never drank fluoride water.
Yeah, right.
Hey, if you have a reverse osmosis system, I literally know someone who had a reverse osmosis system their whole life.
Arizona, out west, a lot of places come with that standard.
Oh, true.
Yeah. And that's probably because they're really smart out there.
Well, you get your water comes through canal systems, so that has to be filtered for each and every house. So that every house comes with that. Plus, Arizona's a new state; everything's top of the line.
Well, maybe that's next on the list to move out there.
You know, the thing with reverse osmosis is that it kills the water.
It does take out minerals.
Exactly.
It makes it like a dead water.
Yeah.
It has huge ups and downs.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it is it's very important to really just keep track of what you're putting in your body, even if it's not water. You know, just read ingredients lists. Unfortunately, fluoride is never going to be on those. I don't know why.
I mean, it is on the toothpaste, obviously.
Yeah, on toothpaste. Yeah, but like on the thousands of other products that it's in.
Yeah, like almost everything has it, because
Yeah.
what do people use when they're in the industrial and they're cleaning the products that they're going to feed to? They're cleaning it with the fluoride water, and it's going to get in there, and they're not going to think about, oh, it's just water, you know. They're not going to think about the fluoride that went into the cleaning.
On the thought of, you know, you're distilling the water to remove the fluoride. I mean, it is the lesser of the evils. You've done the research. You supplement the minerals that are taken out of the water with other stuff.
Exactly.
But
that's
the
true.
only way to get the fluoride out is to distill it.
Yep.
So you have to go that route, or you're going to be drinking fluoride water, and then you go, you know, you switch gears and figure it out what you're missing to supplement.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, actually, there's this water filter that I brought here. It comes with an attachment that removes nearly 100% of the fluoride, and yeah, I've been using this filter. It's amazing. There's some water there for anybody who wants to try some.
Yeah, go ahead and try
That's
some
9.5 pH, very detoxifying. So if you guys have some toxins in your body might let you know.
The only way to describe it is clean.
It's very clean water. It's got 9.5 pH. It's one of the strongest antioxidants in the world. So yeah, just try it out.
What is the filter's name?
It's the K8. It's the
K8.
Kangen.
Mm-hmm.
It's a medical device in Japan, and Japan's #1 in healthcare. We're like number 38. So you know that they're doing something good over there. All right. They literally prescribe this water to people over there as like medicine, as a preventative medication.
Yeah.
And
Is it ionized?
it's ionized, yes.
Yeah.
And so basically, for people that don't know what that means, it's essentially charged water.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, when you charge this water to a certain point, this has huge plates in it.
Yeah, it has 8 medical grade titanium plates that it sends energy through, and the electricity causes the dissociation of water, which causes the hydrogen atom to become more gaseous. And there have been studies that like hydrogen-rich water is really good because it definitely hydrates your body. Hydrogen, hydration, you know? And
There's a place in Paris where like everyone goes for the healing water.
I don't know.
And in the end, they tested it. It just has hydrogen in it.
Oh, really?
And at the same time, it
There are
also
also places like this in Europe where there is a healing water.
exactly.
Oh, yeah,
People
okay.
flock from
Spring
all over the
water,
place.
but also
With hydrogen, right?
And this is basically that. Plus, when the water gets an extra charge, the water molecules space each other out a little bit more. They repel each other more, and so it's a lot smaller little globs of molecules.
Yeah,
so they fit in your cells a lot quicker.
Yeah,
And so-
it's actually called microclustering.
yeah, microcluster.
It's structured water, so it gets absorbed at a higher rate than most water that we drink. Reverse osmosis water, probably when you drink it, you're gonna get like 20% of the hydration from the water. From this water, you get about 85%. So when I drank it, the first time I drank it, I felt it like in my brain. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was like
your
super
whole
dehydrated.
Your whole head
Yeah.
is like instantly hydrated.
Your brain's apparently the first thing to get dehydrated.
Yeah.
And a 10% loss in hydration causes like a 20% loss in mental capacity and clarity.
Yeah.
So like if you're just sitting there, average couch potato loses about 10 cups of water a day. You're just losing water. You're gonna just deteriorate, you know?
And you wake up dehydrated too.
Exactly, yeah.
The first thing you have to do
Just drink some water.
is hydrate yourself
Yep.
every morning.
Mm-hmm.
So
I keep a bottle of water by my bed.
how do you get the fluoride out of that water if you're not distilling it?
There's an extra attachment. I'm not entirely 100% on how the attachment works.
And I'm not doubting you or nothing.
No, yeah,
about
true.
All the research that I've done, it's the only way to get it out is distill it.
Yeah. I mean, to be
And
honest,
that's why I drink distilled water, because I have heard of ionized water before, but I don't want fluoride in my water. I don't want it near me at all. So.
The explanation that I heard behind it is that not only does it have a filter inside of it, but when it does disassociate the water, the fluoride is attracted to the acidic side.
Oh yeah.
And because they call it hydrofluorosilicic acid, like the fluoride that we get is like really an acid. And so when it disassociates the water, the alkaline water
comes out of the top hose, and then the acidic water comes out of the bottom.
Yeah, and so it like one of the hoses goes into your sink to get rid of the nasty water, and then another one comes out of the top.
That's for drinking. Yeah.
Cool. Definitely down to check it out.
Yeah, honestly, like this water hydrates you so quick. Within like an hour and a half, you're going to the bathroom.
I heard that your eyes actually see everything upside down, and it's your pineal gland that turns it to where you actually see everything right side up.
It's kind of like a sonogram.
Is that
we also get two images at the same time, you know, unless you have like an eye closed.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that we can take two eyes and make one perfect image with it is like a miracle. And any vertebrate animal has a pineal gland. So these goats and cows and all these animals have a pineal gland. And I mean, not to mention all the pine cone references throughout history. Like, I don't know if y'all know the Vatican City.
has the biggest statue of the pine cone.
And they are not biology buffs over there. They aren't amazed by trees or anything like that. But they know their stuff. They know that there's quotes from the Bible about the pineal gland and about how it's the eye singular, the one eye. And
The staffs back in the day too used to have
Exactly.
the staffs, and the hats
exactly.
would also be
So,
replicas of the pineal gland.
There's all this pineal gland stuff, and I know that one of you guys has a $1 bill which has an extra eye on it, which is conveniently right here if you flip it over the president's head. So like there's all these references in cartoons. Even nowadays you're seeing cartoons, all this like little eye on a pyramid type stuff is popping up. So this info is literally all right in front of us. Yeah, exactly. This is like the Eye of Horus or the Eye of Ra. And I would love to recommend some really great books, honestly. I would have never given that TED Talk that I gave if I didn't read a certain book. It's called The Source Field Investigations. Had a whole chapter on the pineal gland. And like I was reading this and I was like, what? No way. I mean, some of this amazing scientific discoveries. They did an experiment where they had people try to remote view in a room. And this room was completely sealed off from light, so a completely dark room. And in the room they had these devices to measure photons, to measure light. And so what they had them do is remote view something from really far away. And when they were like most accurately describing the target object, there were bursts of light in both rooms, both the room that the person was in and the room that had the target object in it.
Quantum entanglement.
Yeah. And so, and what they've literally found out about matter, I mean, like, and the fact that they still teach chemistry as like a Newtonian chemistry type thing where it's just such a perfect little shape and it doesn't change. They found that particles can be waves also. And so like, but if you're observing it, then it's a particle. But if you're not observing it, it's a wave. So literally, until you cut your head open, your brain could just be this wave form of things. And honestly, like, there's just so much out there. In the end, like, we're starting to see that, like, the universe is much more infinite and hard to grasp than we realize. And little things like that. And there's actually a class action lawsuit against fluoridation.
Oh yeah, the fan for the fan, right?
Yeah, they're trying to put together a big lawsuit together because, I mean, you guys ever seen those commercials where it's like, have you or a loved one ever taken this drug and then had this side effect? Have you or a loved one ever taken a shower in this country? Like,
Is that something like we can start? I mean, as a group, I mean, can we say we don't want our water fluoridated anymore? I mean,
one of the easiest things you can do is there's this organization called the Fluoride Action Network.
okay.
And so they're an international organization, and ironically enough, most countries have banned it. Not only said we're not going to do it,
Some
but they've said
counties
if you
don't do it.
poison someone with fluoride in this country, you're going to jail. Like, that's the opposite of what we do. One of the biggest things is eat as alkaline as possible. Drink as alkaline as possible, eat as alkaline as possible, have a salad a day. I hear chaga mushrooms are really good. I'm not a mushroom expert per se, but I hear chaga mushrooms are really good.
Iodine.
Iodine is a great mineral. In the end, your body, all of your bodies, need iodine. Not only for your pineal gland, but for your thyroid gland.
Now, is that something you're going to take internal? I mean,
It's droplets.
You
Yeah.
can get drops,
Yeah.
like a little liquid iodine dropper,
Okay.
two drops a day, something like that. And
take it along with the MSM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a list of certain things that you can take. Like vitamin C is also great combined with MSM because vitamin C is great at detoxing the cells and stuff.
Your diet depends on this too, though.
Yeah.
If you're eating meats and stuff like that, I'm sorry if anybody's a meat eater here, but the truth of the matter is when you're eating meats and you're having pesticides, hormones, and all that in your diet, you're counteracting if you're taking MSM and all that. So don't think by taking what he's saying on your regular diet,
Right.
it's going to change anything. It changes with your diet.
I gradually started going vegetarian, and then I realized that basically anything that isn't plant-based is like pretty acidic in the end when it gets into your body. And so I started over 2 years. It was very, I couldn't just go quit on regular pizza and like chicken wings. It was like, I was addicted. I was hooked. But in the end, I realized that most of the energy that makes up your body is literally the stuff you put in it.
You are what you eat.
Exactly.
Everything's energy. Everybody looks at things in a physical form, but when you're consuming something, you're consuming that energy, and whatever that energy went through, that's going through you, and that's now a part of you. So you have to be very conscious and get out of this 3D realm of looking at things. When we're here, everybody here, the energy force and stuff. So that's how you got to start perceiving the world.
Yeah. So to answer your question, yes, there is lots of food options out there that can help with this. In the end, most raw foods have some trace MSM in it. So if you have a salad a day and you don't feel comfortable taking MSM, you're already consuming MSM. So, and vitamins and all types of stuff. I heard vitamin K2 is also really good. Some people call it Activator X. It's this like amazing vitamin that almost no one knows about, and it's really good at keeping the calcium levels in your body where they need to be and how much they need to be. And
can cilantro and cilantro oil? Because I know
detox
when I do it like in my water, I can feel it.
Yeah.
It's great at getting heavy metals and stuff out of the body and detoxifying and stuff like that. So yeah, in the end, you guys probably eat a lot of stuff already that is really great at detoxing and everything.
Cilantro and the beans and rice in there, just to let you know.
Thank you.
Detoxify.
Any other questions?
I wanted to
Turmeric
ask,
and-
in your research, as far as a daily dose of MSM, like it is a part of my glucosamine supplement.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if
They
I'm taking
combine it.
enough of it, but I do eat very often.
If you're taking any of it, you're better off than I was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Honestly. When I first started taking it, I took the daily recommended dose. And then I read online that this stuff is so non-toxic that literally you can take as much as you want and you'll just urinate the rest of it out. You have no side effects that are negative at all. You just don't need a certain amount, and then so you just
Filter.
Did you increase meditation?
Yeah, I mean,
within
gradually
the
over
2
time,
years?
like it's so ironic. When I first started realizing all of this stuff, I was a psychology student who didn't use his brain that much. And so like I started gradually realizing that it's a lot more than just a brain, it's your consciousness. And it's, I mean, when you close your eyes and you just decide to go anywhere, I mean, you're just like filling the universe with your consciousness. And in the end, everything's all connected. And so meditation, whether you want to just go nowhere or you want to go everywhere, I mean, meditation is a huge key to bring into your life. I've actually read that meditation can actually help rebuild the cerebral cortex of the brain, which is the very outer layer with the wrinkles and stuff. That's the first part that starts to go with Alzheimer's. So if you know someone with Alzheimer's, you need to tell them to meditate once a day, because they can literally reverse their Alzheimer's and rebuild that outer layer of the brain. Yeah. So honestly, in the end, I mean, I've heard that people have cured their tumors with meditation.
Yeah. Also on the topic of tumors, I don't know how like public knowledge this is, but like when I found this out, I was like, why does not everybody know this? But there's a guy that won the like Nobel Peace Prize in the 1950s for finding out the cause of cancer, and it's an acidic internal environment. And it can only start in an acidic internal environment, and it cannot thrive in an alkaline environment. So if your body is more alkaline, you probably just won't get cancer, period. Unless it's like super genetic, you know?
Yeah.
But people have become more alkaline, drinking this water, changing their diet, and they have literally like reversed their cancer.
It's prevention too. It's if you don't have it, it's a prevention. If you have it, you can reverse it.
Exactly.
Preventative care is the best way because you don't have the problem. You know, when you get the problem, then they give you a drug. The drug is probably gonna give you a different problem, and it's just like a cycle. It's big pharma for you.
Another thing that's really hilarious is that when you go and buy like batteries at a store, you see that it says alkaline.
Yeah.
Hello, like that's what you want to be, is energized, right? And so you want to be alkaline, and you want to gradually, and the whole thing is like, even like one sip of soda takes your alkalinity and goes, wow. I mean, it's like, you'd be surprised how fast it is. And honestly, I used to drink energy drinks like every day. So don't think that I like was born into this environment where like I was just healthy right off the bat. I was a wreck like 2 years ago. And now like all my friends come and tell me, Alex, I switched toothpaste and now I'm dreaming like every night. What's going on? And I'm like, that's good, man. Just keep it up. And honestly, like it's just great to see people make healthy changes in their lives. And it's great.
How old are you?
I am 21.
See,
wow.
You are so young and you are discovering this now. It's just great to see the young people.
Yeah, and in the end, I owe it to other people. I didn't dissect brains and look in the pineal gland and stuff, but in the end, other people were nice enough to put this research out there, and in the end, I think everybody here should read the book by David Wilcock, The Source Field Investigations. Literally one of the most amazing books. It has over hundreds of citations to scientific experiments and stuff like that. Just really good knowledge out there, and it's all just ready to be absorbed into this big sponge.